there's this belief that as you get older, your body's ability to adapt to exercise, you just don't adapt as well. It's not true. Now, your ultimate capacity changes, obviously. Your max strength at 70 is not going to be what your max strength potential was, let's say, at 30. But the strength gains happen very quickly, especially when you first start exercising. So what we're going to go through the lies, a lot of the myths that people are sold in this age group around exercise. And I'll start with the first one, which is that cardiovascular exercise is the best form of exercise for the aging population.
Now, this myth is perpetuated by what we know about the benefits of heart health in relation to cardiovascular.
Yes.
And so this is why I think it becomes, and your doctor, right? Your doctor tends to, promote this over squatting or doing an exercise, like doing a new, weight training routine. And so by default, this has been used as the main form of exercise for the elderly, and it just isn't the most ideal one.
It doesn't even come close.
No.
Let's just talk about heart health here for a second. The data will show clearly that when it comes to overall heart health, reductions in cardiovascular events, right? Reductions in cardiovascular disease, in heart function and health, strength training is not just as good as cardiovascular training, but probably better in a few
way more protective
in a few other ways. And part of the reason for this now cardio is great for endurance. Okay, so if you want lots of endurance, cardio is a great way to exercise. But that doesn't mean you don't gain endurance from strength training, because you do gain endurance. In fact, the type of endurance you gain from strength training is more applicable to your life than the endurance you'll get from cardio, because strength training makes you stronger. And what you really need as you get older is strength and stability.
Yeah.
Now, here's why strength training, in many cases, and again, I'm talking about the data, actually outperforms cardio for heart health, and that has to do with insulin sensitivity. So building muscle or strengthening muscle improves insulin sensitivity, and there's a very strong correlation between insulin resistance and cardiovascular disease. We know this. We know this in extreme cases with diabetes, for example. Building muscle makes you far more insulin sensitive because, well, number one, muscle is a storage vessel for sugars and carbohydrates, but also muscle itself is insulin sensitive. Cardiovascular exercise will improve insulin sensitivity while you do it, but it doesn't contribute to this permanent change in insulin sensitivity, not nearly as much as strength training. So even just heart health, strength training has been shown to be superior. But then when we look at all-cause mortality, because you're just looking at the heart, which again, I made the case, and again, look at the data.
We'll look at like osteopenia and osteoporosis, and what's the best form of training in that regard? And that's definitely weight training.
Strengthening bone, reducing risk of fracture and fall and resilience if you do become
Cardio
ill.
doesn't touch that.
Doesn't touch it. So strength training, if you had to pick one form of exercise as you got older, that would give you the most bang for your buck in terms of longevity and health. The data is very, very, very clear. It's actually strength training. And then just to add a cherry on top, the amount of strength training required to reap the majority of the benefits you'll get from strength training is very little. It's actually quite little. In fact, the data will show in the aging population, 1 day a week will give you probably about 70% of all the results you get from strength training. You'll get from 1 day a week. 2 days a week gets you close to 80%. You just don't need to do a lot of it to reap tremendous benefits. And it's very protective. When you have muscles, protective when you're not doing any type of activity. Again, in my experience, by the way, in this population, the benefits they get from proper exercise are actually more profound than I see in the younger population, because they tend to come to me very deconditioned. So you see this huge turnaround.